Like, I did think there was more than a 1 in 3 chance of Atlanta Reign winning, but I thought that Paris would be the favourites. Erster, Doko, and Defran are in the top 4 average elims across the league. Interesting. I think Defran seems to have massively stepped his game up, just from the little snippets that I heard from people. Dako, I think, has always been excellent. Like, if I was to name you the 2 best players on the Atlanta Reign, I would say Doko and Massa before this match. I think Pogpo was a bit feast or famine and got caught out of position by playing aggressive a bit too much, and Defran didn't have the greatest bubbles or grabs, even though his mechanics are generally pretty good. Where was I on Sunday? I tried to sleep to reset my schedule, and I overslept. And then by the time I woke up, the game 1 was already finished, and so I was like, oh fuck it, I'm not streaming. Okay, alright. I do know the results of the games, UIQ. Yep. Hope I never get the visa. Well, thanks for the kind words. Okay. Can you quickly define tier 1, 2, and 3 teams, please? Not really. I mean, the tier system isn't... So, whenever anyone talks about tiers, what they mean is they can see a group of teams that all look around the same level, and another group of teams that look worse and all around the same level, and another group of teams that look worse and all around the same level but a different level. The tiers themselves aren't like, oh, if you've got good ult economy and good players, you're in tier 1. If you've got only good ult... I mean, that's just not how it works, is it? There's fucking so many variables that you couldn't possibly make a tier system like that. But basically, there seem to be some teams at the top who play very structured, know how to play goats, know how to play a variety of different goat structures, play at high tempo very well, punish aggressive, punish bad positioning from other teams, stuff like that. I thought that Paris was in that tier, whereas Atlanta were in the tier where they were actually making quite a bunch of mistakes themselves. So that's why I'm interested in seeing this. Okay. So now you can finally watch a game live with me, because I'm not planning to really rewind and do all of that shit. I'm planning to watch this basically all the way through, because I need to get through these games. I can't keep stopping them. So, first of all, immediate thought is they're running Sim. And good lord, that makes me concerned. Benbest just left on his own. For some reason, Paris Eternal are trying to win the shield war with a Sim instead of peeling for their own Rhine. Okay, so if this is setting the tempo for this game, I'm calling a Paris throw immediately. Do they play with this Sim the entire time? Sim is such short range that even though in theory it could be decent because your beam can't be blocked by defense matrix and so you should win the shield war, it's just not, because you just get kited. And then you just get run over. Come on! This is not a good strat. This is so easy for Atlanta to play against, because they kite the damage so that they don't lose the shield war, and then as soon as the Sim goes forward to try and actually do damage and, you know, put damage on Popo's shield, they just run onto them and kill them. So, okay. Now they're 40% down, and they've given all of the positioning away to Atlanta. Bembest very weak. Popo's able to do a lot of damage there. This is all as a result of running that Sim at the beginning. Oh my god, and they're not resetting. Why aren't they resetting? They're just going to be able to do a load of damage to them as they come in. Okay, Atlanta back off. Fair enough. What a boop. That really was a fantastic boop. So both grabs got engaged. Both grabs got exchanged. Atlanta couldn't really do anything with their diva, but fair enough. I said Paris was overrated all of last week, and I was right. Well, possibly, yeah. But Paris did look a lot better than Atlanta in terms of their fundamentals over week 1 and week 2. So I don't think it's overrated as in people were, I don't know. People were wrong at the time. I think Paris were a better team than Atlanta previously over the past couple of weeks. Streaming at a normal time, yep. Atlanta pulled out Oates to mess with you and won on well. Solid. Most of them are contenders players who've been playing GOATs for 8+ months longer than our teams. Nah, I don't really buy that. DeFran hasn't. Erster hasn't. They were playing. They were playing weird. Well, not weird shit, but they were playing much more DPS focused stuff. Popo and Daco have. So is Massa. Massa the most. Wait, what the fuck happened there? Oh my god. Wait, how? I said I wasn't going to rewind very much, but... What goes on here? How did Paris fuck this dive up so much? Oh, the bubble's just crazy early from soon. Why did they put bubble so early? And then another fantastic boop from Massa. Nice halt from Popo as well.
To the 3-3 from Atlanta in the first point, and now they're trying to play 3-3 into this Torbjorn. And remember, Torbjorn's good into the 3-3 because of that Molten Core ultimate. Yeah, you can really wear down a lot of the durability of the tanks. When the floor is lava, it's not great to be a death ball. Yeah, that's for sure. Now,
okay.
France never finished this round on Torbjorn. He's yet to win. But they would have to force him to switch. That's the problem.
Another dive. Okay, Bubbles better timed, but Atlanta with a nice speed boost disengage. Oh, and another really nice halt. Popo's Orisa is really good. He's played a lot of Orisa when he played with Element Mystic. Popo and Fearless both played a ton of Orisa. But okay, they're doing something. They're getting back into it a little. If they'd focused Massa there, they might have been able to get that pick. I like to have a shit ton of ultimates. They're doing well at just rotating around away from them. Atlanta are playing this well. Molten Core. Primal from Bembest. Paris previously have had good focus fire, and their focus fire really looks all over the place at the moment. Okay. Fairly decent though. Once they really pinned Atlanta down, they were able to find a couple of targets that they could pick out. But it's like 90%, and now Paris have an opportunity to recontest and build up their ults, so this is going to be more difficult. Hey, Semper Turtle. Updates on your visa? Yeah, actually. Going well. Can't say anything solid, but promising progress within the last week. I'll be leaving at some point soon to do a interview. A visa interview. Hello, yo, Mr. Knight. Is it? No, I know who won all of the games. Popo goes for the halt. Don't manage to get anybody. Soon, still playing pretty patient. He's about to get up to his grab though. Okay, speed boost disengaged. The fan goes down. Erster should also fall here. Nice. Pretty decent. As long as they don't use ults, they should be in a good position now. I think this ults composition is not very good. And I mean, how they just lost to it there is how it should go pretty much every time. Thank you, Feskia, tier 1 sub.
That's why we saw Atlanta move in so slowly. You know, they just want to get that chip damage, just want to try to build up the ultimates. Yeah, this may be the last fight, though. It's going to be really close.
Okay, so Popo.
Paris has really sort of stabilized here. Yeah, they have, and they're going to get a lot of ultimates online now too. Yeah, not relying on those environmental kills, that's for sure.
Bubble is used. How does Nico go down there? Okay, but they're still... Oh, the grab soon dies to it. Oh, but they killed a Fran. Okay. Pretty difficult to get back into this, honestly, but they might be able to get the pick on Popo and make it decent. Dogman dies. If Ben Best could disengage there, they might be able to get back in on Popo. If they played that a little more cleverly, I think Paris should have had an advantage. Yeah, Ben Best on Winston is not the greatest. Ben Best Winston has been very underwhelming across this map. I think they really messed up that final portion, Paris. That final fight was all over the place. Okay, so they end up winning this. Cool. I mean, this is all just cleanup at this point, isn't it? I'm trying to speed through them because I've got a lot of VODs to catch up with.
I'm looking forward to proving the future is that we're more than just a 3-3 team. The players we've got.
You might not even be a 3-3 team, mate.
We have a lot of good team chemistry for being such a culturally diverse team.
They can tussle with the very best.
Are you guys excited to play Paris?
Yes. Can we stop it there, or do we have to elaborate?
Cool. Duds. Great interview, Dogman. Great interview. Alright. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Will I do Seoul versus NYXL? Not today. So the games that I've got queued up today are Paris versus Atlanta, Shanghai Dragons versus Dallas, and Spark versus Gladiators. These were the big three games that I wanted to look at from the 3 days that I missed, because Paris against Atlanta went very differently to how I thought it would. Shanghai Dallas went pretty much exactly as I thought it would, but it's such a tight game and I want to get a feel for where they were both at. And I heard it was pretty entertaining as well. And Spark Gladiators is... Not only did I catch some of it and it looked like Gladiators were playing awfully, but it looked like Spark were playing better as well. So I want to see if it's like both teams are going on like opposite passing trajectories, or whether, you know, Spark's inconsistently is finally gone, or, you know, what. I do know about the yeeted grab, yeah. Okay.
Plan from Paris, but they're back in their comfort zone.
Okay.
Hollywood will be all triple tank, triple support with the Rhino.
So this should be a good map for Paris.
How Atlanta can handle one of the best teams at this strategy in the league in the Paris Eternal.
Atlanta Reign on the attack, speed boosting themselves.
Okay.
The they want to try to approach the point from
position taken very quickly for Atlanta.
To drop down to handle that. And that's what Atlanta wants.
Paris hold this corner. Early bubble from Pogpo. Soon uses personal. Ben Best doesn't over chase. Popo takes a bit of damage. Both Ryans trying to swing at each other.
Best trying to play that corner by the stairs to make sure his barrier takes the least amount of damage possible. Now has to move back onto the cart though. Getting a little bit low. He's got the Zarya shield.
Projected bubble used. Is that just an early fucking projected from Soon again?
Zarya is going to have ample damage when the fight is engaged.
See Ben Best trying to play that corner by the stairs to make sure his barrier takes the least amount of damage possible. Now has to move back onto the cart though. Getting a little bit low. He's got the Zarya shield though. That lets him get healed up. Dogman meanwhile free.
Yes.
And Ben Best goes down again.
Yes, it is.
Seems like Paris has had a really hard time keeping him alive in these team fights.
But I really like fighting from the back here, because it gives Dogman a much better opportunity to do damage over the point. Fighting from the back is a lot better than fighting from the front. Fair enough. They take that. I'm surprised that Paris weren't more aggressive there as well. Paris would normally look like a much more aggressive team, but they also didn't take... Either you want your people on the high ground, you know, like you want your Zarya on the high ground so that Soon can do a lot of damage, or if Soon is on the low ground, I have to turn this down. It's distracting to me. Oh, this is the yeeted grab, isn't it?
Oh my.
Tosses in the grab. They're gonna make it work. And Cruz
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Because that's a very difficult corner to break normally. It's really cool set play from there.
way I've ever seen. Quite a bit of trouble. We must flee. At the point, that's how it works. And well,
Yeah, but Paris generally, like when soon as playing the low ground, they tend to be an aggressive team. It's the Reddit play. Yeah.
Death from above with the graviton surge.
You know, the weird thing is, though, you know Zumba's grab that he got so much credit for in the World Cup? I mean, Zumba didn't discover that either. He just used it at the right time in a match, so...
bouncing through the window in the
I don't think he can say, oh my god, Zumba's incredible. Okay.
Now they're gonna just go right onto Paris again. Paris responding with the sound barrier, trying to stay alive. They got Popo in the grab. He's in a little bit of trouble here. Self-destruct.
Alright, so that's well set up by Paris. They back off, they trade the bubbles reasonably well. Popo gets caught in a grab. They use the sound barrier, trade sound barriers, and then they get the kills.
Now and say whose idea that was, because that was amazing.
Pat yourself on the back.
Put that on Twitter. Add that to your resume.
I mean, that's one of those things, too. As a player, you know, a lot of these pro players spend a lot of time just bouncing around an empty map, you know, trying to find things.
Now Paris going a bit more aggressive. Nice opportunity for an Earth Shatter, actually, but whiffed. That's going to be the Transcendence popped out for Paris. A nice attempt at a charge, honestly. Get caught in the grab. That looks like they've done a lot of damage there, actually. But Ben Best is going to fall. It's not an easy fight, but Atlanta do win it in the end. Fair enough, though. They have to use Grav. But they did force out the Transcendence.
The elimination on
But Paris going that aggressive there, and it was almost a great.
the Lucio is going to use the speed to give him a little bit of extra speed for the double right
It is a really nice little play.
into a grab.
That's one of the sickest
Incredible.
things I've ever seen.
Okay.
By that play.
So Atlanta now have double support ult advantage.
Find any way they can.
They're going so aggressive. What the fuck is this?
That's one of the sickest
Incredible.
things I've ever seen.
I'm just wowed by that play.
Ben Best just totally overwhelmed, and Paris don't disengage at all.
Rain, but it's not going well. Ben Best down
Ben Best just gets completely isolated.
for all day.
Very strange, actually.
So convincing. It hasn't even been close.
Atlanta did damage to Ben Best early on, and then just overwhelmed him and got players behind him. Like got Defran with his personal behind him, and then Popo was just jumping in his face, and Paris aren't peeling very well. Let's just go back over this fight again. Like here, when Ben Best is weak and players are going aggressive, Cruz isn't able to boot people away. And Finzi isn't booping people away either. So Ben Best just gets overwhelmed, and like Defran and Massa are behind them.
Any way they can to
And then they use the trance.
close most of the time.
This is easy
Very sloppy from Paris.
all season.
But yeah, Atlanta
Questions about
not really making mistakes at the moment.
based on their strength of schedule and opponents, but you know what? Dominating Paris is pretty interesting, especially because
I did do power rankings last week. Yeah. I had Paris the bottom of the top tier, and Atlanta the second best of the next major tier. But there was a couple of teams in the middle. There was like Shock, Philly, and Charger in the middle of the tier 1 and 2.
There's self-destruct. The boop comes out.
They've been able to block it pretty good.
For Atlanta, they have a chance to strike back now. Ben Best low barely gets that sound barrier in time to stay alive. Gets a kill into Ursa, and so Paris Eternal riding that razor's edge, but they do manage to get a couple kills in the end. Atlanta Rain drops it.
Well, that grav is not useful.
Wants back as there was no follow-up, and it looks like they're going to lose Masa. Yeah, at the end of that fight, and
I mean, they got out of
That's a bit
there
rough.
because they saw the trance coming in. They realized that it was not a winnable fight with the amount of players.
Did he just think that he didn't have trans?
But yes,
Perhaps.
not the greatest trade, but
Wait, what the fuck?
out of there because
How did Soon die there?
coming in, they realized that it was not a winnable fight.
That's never a situation where you should die. Oh, Defran's just doing so much damage to him, man. Holy shit, Defran just fucking melted him.
Soon is apparently just describing when he's going to die in this fight, but that's a nice Earth Shatter coming in.
It's a decent Earth Shatter, but Nico's too aggressive. I don't know why they went so aggro on it. Wow. I mean, I'm really disappointed at the moment in the play coming out from Paris. I didn't do week 4 power rankings yet, no, because I haven't watched all of the games. What do I think about London now? I didn't watch the games yet from this week. But they certainly look like they're improving. I've seen a little snippets. Okay, soon now with a grav.
Like to try to keep it
Grab comes out. Nice Earth Shatter from Popo. Really nice. Yeah, Paris are all over the place. And Atlanta's aggression is really paying off. Something that, when Philly played against Atlanta, they were really abusing Popo. Like, Popo was coming forward and getting isolated and killed. But it's actually BenBest on the other side that's happening to. Their disengage is... I don't think I've seen Paris disengage properly once. BenBest is just getting caught. Yeah, and Soon looks off his game as well. Soon's been caught out and had poor bubbles quite a few times.
Same attack for the Paris Eternal. They will be doing what Atlanta did and wrapping around the backside of the point. Cruz,
Oh, it's a fake though.
they're switching it up, so they faked it out. Cruz is behind them. Cruz is bumping somebody off.
He's gonna try. Yeah, he didn't quite get it that time.
That was a clever trick play. He came over the roof to see if they could displace them. That was a fun play from Paris. Idea there is that
The problem here is, at the front, you actually don't have as great position.
feint around the rear of the point.
Heap always has to be a little scared about how he's taking this Zen angle. But okay, now it's a bit better. But BenBest's taken a lot of damage. Alright, now they can start going aggressive. They're going to get armor pack up fairly shortly as well. Speed boost, they try and isolate Popo. Popo is going to go down here. Have they managed to find a trade? No, that's just a nice engagement. Alright, that's more what I expected to see from Paris the whole time. Like, they take position, they slowly squeeze some pressure, and then they go really aggro, and they isolate Popo. So that's more of how I thought most of the fights would be going. Like, it's not that Atlanta Reign did anything really wrong there. It's just they slowly get squeezed, and then when they see Popo has taken a bit of damage, they go aggressive on him. They certainly could have peeled better, but... Alright, Grav comes in. Trance and Barrier at the same time! Not good, not good. And a huge Earth Shatter as well. Because they all got fucking panicked because they used both of their support ults at the same time, and they both just went aggressive. Like, everyone on Paris just ran forwards trying to get value out of the support ultimates. That has fucked their ult economy. That's terrible. Yeah, this is the first game that I've analyzed today. You can't really hold Cafe, honestly, Rockaboo. Okay, both support ultimates used for Atlanta Reign. Nico's been more aggressive than the rest of his team throughout this match so far as well. Dogman plays Zen like I would love to play Zen.
Considering that the sound barrier was up, you just didn't have enough charge on the Zarya, you know, to really finish off the
Okay, Atlanta now have a Grav available. Finzy's taking so much damage. Finzy's just eating all of this damage. They're going for a boob shatter there, but it didn't quite work out. Grav goes out. He passes the trance, but doesn't work. What happened there as well? I think Heap ends up using his trance like earlier. Oh, Heap got shattered. Oh, it was a nice boob shatter actually. I didn't even realize. Yeah, great boob shatter, and then the transcendences are traded, and then Defran comes in with the Grav. So it's a boob shatter that sets that up. But also the fact that Finzy took so much damage, Paris couldn't get aggressive because Finzy was on like 50 health. Massa set that one up. I think Dogman's playing because he's more vocal and more aggressive. Okay. Rally engagement. A really nice peel from Massa. Popo is dead. They're seeing if they can kill Massa. Soon struggling to get damage out. But okay, they got a pick. Dogman very far forward. That's unfortunate as well. Dogman couldn't get out of there. Bad stagger. So Paris now should be able to get very aggro.
take the L on that team fight.
Soon struggling to get charge as well.
And try and contest here a couple more times before this payload reaches the end of B.
Well, it's certainly not the
Soon just using his bubble and got nothing, man.
Paris just lobbing the graviton surge.
Oh, beautiful.
Counter shatter from Popo. Ooh, nearly got
And the bubble there isn't rightly timed. See, this is another one of those issues. Okay, so Soon used his bubble, didn't get anything. And BenBest is getting aggressive in the grav, and this is where BenBest needs his bubble. Doesn't have the bubble, too late from Soon. Soon has not had a good game.
out of that one, but the sound barrier bailing Paris out for the moment.
I feel like if you look at the Zarya stats at the end of this game, Defran will just be walking all over Soon.
Stopping that payload hard.
Oh boy, that was such a massive investment for Paris too. You have to block the counter shatter because if your Reinhardt goes down, you can't charge the other Rein and make
Well,
sure that the self
I think Paris were playing a lot better than that previously.
engagements
Or a lot better than this.
are an incredibly important part
But
of the 3-3 meta that we have.
I think
You gotta make sure the Reinhardt
Soon's having an off day,
you're back up in time to block
and they're abusing
gets it up because of the shatter.
BenBest and Nico's aggression and Finzi's, I don't know, Finzi's uncomfort, lack of comfort.
Best can charge Dogman. That's something. Defran throws out the grab. Here comes the self-destruct, but everybody's already.
But they're just getting the worst end of all of these engagements. Paris are really playing horribly. Like, Atlanta Rain played that one fairly decently. There was nothing wrong with how Atlanta Rain played it. But look at Paris here. Like, this is that fight. They take so much spam coming through. They're so indecisive. Players are trying to get up top. They get caught in a choke point. Nico takes a ton of damage. Then he gets isolated and just picked off by the aggression. There's no disengage again. Nico gets caught out for maybe the third time. And they take so much poke as they come through. Because they're not fast at being able to engage through the chokes. But these weren't mistakes that they were making previously.
Of your Paris, you're just not going to survive a grab where the Reinhardt is swinging on you. The Diva's there. The
Atlanta, I think, are making better and better progress. They look better than they've played before. But the thing that struck me so far is Paris making way more mistakes than they had done previously.
besides that rally, and with Dogman with the trance,
Again, no disengage. Soon just gets caught out.
He's going to use it now to keep Popo up. Popo down to about 30% life, and as Soon goes down, well, there it is. Soon and BenBest killed off.
It looks like Paris have got very much in their heads about losing.
They might actually go down 0-2 in this series for what I believe is the first time in the league for them.
that would be a really rough situation.
Oh my goodness. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, that's brutal.
Man, 20 seconds now, and Atlanta's going to take a very aggressive stance.
Hey, TGD. Paris tilted? It looks a bit like tilt. Yeah. It looks a bit tilty. It looks like they're just walking forwards and trying to brute force it rather than playing well. Holy, what the fuck is Popo doing?
Interesting choice.
Alright, that is a feed.
I'm shocked that he did that. All right, well, that's going to be Paris easily responding to that fight. They did send Cruz ahead to get onto the payload to pop that overtime, and
That's the kind of fight that can... That's the kind of single play that can actually lose you a map.
It's possible that
Because with this momentum, Paris could end up taking point B and could actually cap.
shatter anyway, because it prevents their advance, which would allow him to get back to his team if he was seen.
Okay, Atlanta's still with a lot of ultimates. They're still going to have a grav bomb combo to be able to take this with. Paris have to play aggro. They need to get up aggressive. Oh my god, BenBest gets destroyed again by Popo. And that's going to be the win. Defensive self-destruct is a decent try by Fenzi, but ain't going to work. And again, Sudan's bubble is just too early. Soon's bubble... Oh, sorry, too late. Look, Soon's bubble happens just... Like, as... Look. Soon should be bubbling him as he goes aggressive, so that he can damage Popo and isn't, like, you know, a risk of the shatter. BenBest knows that he has shatter available. Aye, aye, aye.
Popo, he saved it. It was all part of the plan, right? Graviton surge comes in. South Air for Atlanta. Oh, and Soon gets his grab eaten by Daco as well. Daco, with a couple kills with the self-destruct, goes down to the other one, but they may be able to win this one anyway. Atlanta certainly with the numbers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see that solo shatter you're talking about as well.
Back of that fight. Now it's just a cleanup for
No, it wasn't a stun shatter. It was just Soon's bubbles weren't on point.
in this series.
And it hasn't been close, Doa.
It really hasn't been close, no. And also, they look in their heads. Actually, I heard that this halftime was pretty good, so I'm going to watch this halftime. Shu was insane on Zen versus Valiant. Oh, his Ana and his Zen are fantastic. Yeah. He built it up again in 24 seconds. That is nuts. The friend's grab when it was just him after the second point was actually a good play to survive and escape with really high charge so he can destroy the next fight. Nah, that's not worth it. You can get 80% really quickly. That's not a good play. Like, Zarya charge, you can get very quickly in GOATs because you just exchange bubbles and you have instant 80%. So, wasting a grav just to get out on high charge is not the play.
Alright, well, I'm gonna let you talk your talk, but let's take a look at these highlights. Let's see that Symmetra in play right now.
Yeah, this killed me. I think Zoe hit the nail on the head here. Paris trying to be cute coming out the gates of the Symmetra.
This was really poor.
It means you're immediately weaker when it comes to running into triple tank support.
Soon they don't really have somebody to sub out so that Soon can play.
And that first round, initially losing it because of that Symmetra pick, realistically cost them this first map as well because they were at a one-round disadvantage. Going into this, you know, they were really struggling, I think.
Why? Why would they do that when...
Yeah, we'll, Oh, Danye. Yeah, that's interesting, actually. I did actually think they were going to run Danye at the beginning of the season, so... But it depends who you've been scrimming with. If you haven't been scrimming with Danye, there's no way you're going to sub him in.
I think this is mainly going to be attributed to the coaching staff. They have really
I'm actually not sure, iRocketF, whose responsibility is about the bubbles. They don't have Leaf.
They've won a majority of the control matches.
Shadowburn Zarya used to be okay, but it just depends who they've been playing with.
More the same domination by Atlanta.
Yeah, it really was. And in particular, we were focusing a lot on Cruz in the pre-show and the casts as well. But what I was looking at as this game was progressing was Massa, the Lucio player for Atlanta Reign.
I love the rock music playing in the background. Like badass music.
Was that Massa recognized the win condition for Paris Eternal coming into this was Cruz setting up these fights. So the entire time whilst this match was going on this map in particular, look at this. I was looking at this little mini fight that was going on between Cruz and Massa, booping each other away. He was denying Cruz away from getting away with the aggressive plays.
Massa is playing very well.
The mind games that we're now starting to see in the Overwatch League as it's progressing.
But it does show that Atlanta did their homework. As you said, they recognized that Cruz was that big factor in every single time they won the team fight. And not just focusing Cruz. They didn't try to kill him. They tried to keep him busy. He tried to keep him occupied. And the rest of the team went on to Benbest. And as soon as Benbest...
Oh, it was a boop from Cruz. He was just trying to escape. I see. I wondered what the fuck that he was doing there. But also just hiding in general is... Hiding in general is such a high risk, high reward play. Bren is actually swole as fuck, yeah.
Here you can see the stats card here. The biggest discrepancy I want everyone to pay attention to is the deaths. You can see Massa is having an absolute field day. 5 deaths in the entire match. He's having a fantastic match so far. He's really playing well for them. Setting up a lot of the
The way that this game's been a roll, though, I'm pretty sure everybody compared to their counterpart would have like 3 times more deaths. I don't think that's really just a Cruz thing.
So, what does Paris need to do to get back into this match?
So I think... Oh, go ahead, Zoe.
No, please, you go ahead.
I think they need to recognize that they are...
Did I do predictions and rankings yet? No, because I haven't watched all of the games that I missed. I'm going to do all of the games I missed before Thursday. Yes, Buzzer7326. But at the moment, I'm just going with the ones that were most important. Because I'm going to be on Oversight afterwards. Chad Finland Lucio versus Virgin UK Lucio. Jesus Christ.
They need to stop underestimating Atlanta. They knew what Atlanta is going to run on, for example, well...
How much do you think weird off-meta picks played into this series so far? Barely any. I mean, they only played the Symmetra, right? That only lost in the first round of Ilios. From there, it's been Paris underperforming and Atlanta looking solid.
Atlanta's name in the second half as they're going for the reverse sweep right after the break.
I think one of the problems with Cruz playing or trying to play as aggressively as he does is that Benbest doesn't get as much peel for him, and they've been pushing Cruz out of position and then doing a lot of work to overwhelm Benbest, and then Cruz isn't there to disengage. Okay, Paris now running a defense with Bastion. Okay, what's the play here then? Okay, they're gonna play Dotes. Dotes with the Tracer. I like this. I think Dotes is actually a really good way of breaking. So Dotes is the the D.Va, the Winston, and the Hammond, and you just kind of like slam in all three of you at once and burst down the Bastion. He survives, actually. That's pretty crazy. So this is a bit of a like cheesy composition from Paris, and they're gonna win. But the problem with this cheesy comp by Paris is that when they lose, they're gonna have no ults to be able to defend point B with. So I heard Monty on Oversight last week talk about how he thinks Orisa defenses are still the best on Anubis A, but I think weirdly, right, last year and in 2017, the only analysis most people could do was talking about ult economy. Like, it was like all they could fucking talk about was like, oh, you know, you need those big ult combos and stuff, and like people suggesting playing Zarya Hanzo all the time so you could get big ult combos, and I don't know, it fucking blew my mind at the time actually, because I was like, there is so much more going on in the game than this. But now no one's talking about ult economy. Like, now in the meta of ult economy, nobody's talking about it that much. The whole reason that you don't run these compositions on point A is because you are going to get snowballed to high hell on point B, and point B is the more defensible of the two. So if I had to predict what's about to happen here, I'd say Paris eventually get broken, and then there's an insta-cap on point B. Having said that, Ursa looks very uncomfortable on Wrecking Ball right now. But okay. Leia's playing the point though. Alright, they've taken somebody down there. They just totally fucked that up. But okay, Leia. Pick on Dogman. Pick on Nico. Can they get that res? Yeah.
Your pulse bomb for that. Not sure that you wanted to use it there.
I mean, generally though, if you're running into
Wait for the Paris attack, Pepe laugh. Please bring this up to Monty when you're in Oversight. Only if the topic comes up. I'm not gonna just call him out for something he said last week.
is what made that a little bit rougher.
Yeah, you'd like to have it here.
Atlanta. All right, gonna go in again.
Okay, seeing if they can peel away for Soon. Soon healing himself. Flank from Dako's, pretty nice. Defensive self-destruct. Seeing if Soon can stay alive. Soon is going to die though. Okay, but they ticked off. So this isn't bad, right? Okay, you tick off a large amount of time on point A. So the defense itself isn't that bad, but you don't really have big ultimates to be able to work with here. You're down a support ult, and fair enough, Atlanta have chosen not to go with like the quad tank with Zarya. So, because the thing is, Nalea, if this was like, you know, Defran playing with Ursa or whatever, then Nalea could play the Zarya. Oh, this is interesting as well, that they have Ursa and Nalea playing at the same time. Normally both of these are Brig players. But okay, you can run like Dotes, but with a Zarya as well, and then you are mega screwed when it gets to point B. But okay, 5 minutes left on the clock. Playing aggressive, Finzi with a little bit of peel. Almost got punished for it. Did get punished for it. Dude, Finzi, man. Just doesn't look that comfortable on. Oh, wow. Crew's really punished for playing aggressive there. Taking off angles. And this sound barrier has just overwhelmed them. Bruh. It is really bad for Paris. It's terrible for Paris. Point B is the one that you want to defend for ages. Bro.
After the D-back, so really wasn't doing anything easy for Atlanta to wait that one out.
Well, turns out that running a risky composition on point A leads to a very quick point B cap. Who could have known? Oh wait, me. Most people. That's why you run goats on point A. Okay, so Atlanta Reign are going to run this Orisa composition. Like, the number one thing you want to do as a GOATS team here is make sure you don't feed Ursa a lot of damage. And both of their supports get caught in the trap. Holy Christ. Okay, this is actually going to make things really difficult for Paris here, because Ursa's going to have his Riptire available. So, yeah, this one's... But also, Nico should not be running Widowmaker here. There is no reason for Nico to be running Widow, because Nalea's going to be playing behind a shield almost all the time. But this is actually nice play. I've seen people running this Junkrat defense before, and they're not even able to get a Riptire up when the Goats team's like transitioning all over the map, and that I think is terrible. So I love that Erster's playing this aggressively. Oh, he didn't even get the DMAC. But okay. Cruz dies. But here, pushing through this side is really bad against Junkrat. Pushing through this side, I think, is better. Like, you can even fake as if you're going this way and then speed boost down towards the left-hand side. Because you want to be able to get the high ground and get away from the Junkrat spam areas. And this choke on the right-hand side, like this choke over on the right-hand side over here, horrible to get through against the Junkrat. So I think Paris have got into the habit of pushing right side because it's the best against Goats, but Atlanta Reign can't really punish that hard if they push left. So they should be trying to get through here a little easier. Best takes armor pack, but he's already a bit low. Daka uses the... Okay, Riptire. Need to kill this Riptire. Gets Cruz, who was out of position. So yeah, Cruz has been caught out a lot of times. It seems like a real priority for Atlanta is taking out Cruz. Okay, but again, Paris could definitely win this fight and go on to snowball point B. So now, oh, but Ursa's still doing so much damage. How does Heap die? He should have his fade. I mean, the other thing you can do here as well is try and play Winston Goats and just get aggressive on layer.
Not looking anything like eternal at the moment. Ursa throws another concussion mine. There's a coalescence from him as he comes back, but he's caught from the rest of his team.
Ursa gets caught. Aggression, but does get caught out. They should be rotating top now, though. Rotate top, drop to point, and try and get value out of... Oh, no, they're just going to go straight aggressive. They're trying to get aggressive onto Pokepo. Grav gets eaten. They need to kill this Riptire. None of them are even looking at the Riptire. So, yeah. This is nice play from Atlanta. Don't get me wrong. Like, I really like how aggressive Erster is playing. But you should still eventually win as the Goats team. Because you can take position when the Riptire is down. And you should have all the ults you need to be able to win the fight. And you shouldn't die to the Riptire every single time.
Why didn't they switch to this composition earlier? I don't know, man. You gotta do something at this point.
But at this point, Paris is just fucked because playing dive, you lose that snowball advantage. They just played point A wrong. So nicely played by Atlanta Reign. They're playing that composition how you're supposed to play it. And mainly that's because Erster was doing really well with the Junkrat. Like, really nice Junkrat play from Erster. And that is more how, like, EQO plays it. And I love that style of playing it, where you get really aggressive, you do a ton of damage, you build up Riptires. You have to be careful with being able to get out of there. You have to put down mines preemptively to be able to escape. But he got big value out of all of the Riptires, and Paris were lost. So... After the match, I think Monty mentions they should have run dive. No, that's actually true. Like, if the classic way of breaking that composition last season is playing dive, and the way that you break it, let me just go down and very quickly run you guys through this then. The classic way to break this composition in Overwatch League Season 1 was with Genji Tracer dive, and you could even run Genji Sombra dive now if you wanted to. But Genji Tracer is still fine. And the way you do it is you get quickly into this left-hand side with your dive team, and you can get through this choke point pretty easily because you can dash through as the Genji and you can blink through and stuff like that. And then when you're in here, you get the Genji comes up. We're going to get even worse positions to be able to look at this. But you get the Genji up through this top window, and the Genji flanks around behind. And so the Genji sets up position on here. And you try and apply pressure to the Zen and the Widow at the back. And when Atlanta Reign send the Mercy back to be able to help the the Widow or the Zen, you then dive in the front, and the only person that can really like clutch that for the defensive team is either the Widow by getting some banana shot, but it doesn't normally happen, or the Junkrat by getting out a huge amount of damage on the players that are going aggressive. But there is like a very planned out, well structured, tested way of being able to break this with dive. And the most important part is getting your Genji out this window and getting behind without getting caught. And you have your Tracer play like over on this side as well, so that Genji comes in from behind, Tracer comes in from the side, your tanks come in from the front, and your supports can walk in uncontested while they're fighting. So there is like a clear methodology, if you go back and watch last season, of how to break that whilst using the dive comp. But the reason that teams don't want to do it is because you have roughly the same amount chance of winning if you run dive versus if you run goats, as long as you run the goats effectively, which Paris failed to do. And it doesn't snowball very well into point B, whereas goats has massive snowball potential into point B. So dive is potentially a slightly better way of breaking the point A hold, but goats is by far the better way of playing the entire map, because you have such a large snowball potential on point B, as long as you can pull off the break of point A. Does Paris have the players to even do that, though? Yeah, sure. I mean, Nico can play a decent Genji, Soon can play Tracer. Best Winston isn't the greatest, but, I mean, Finzi would then be on Diva, and then Cruz. I mean, last season people were playing it with Mercy, because you get the reses and you're able to, even if the fight goes badly and Junkrat picks someone, you're still able to make it work, but you can play it with Lucio as well. And anyway, Cruz can play Mercy. The players that like Best is the biggest question mark on Winston, but you certainly could do that. But I think I think running goats well would be better in that scenario. Okay, so 3-0 at this point, and let's just summarize what we've seen so far. Ilios, they threw the first round by playing Symmetra, and in the second round, on well, they looked really bad at playing Winston goats. Best looked uncomfortable on Winston, and Soon's bubble timings were off. I'm doing this from Paris's point of view, and then I'll do it from Atlanta's point of view. So then on Hollywood, Paris failed to disengage very well, and again Soon's bubble timings were off, and Best and Nico were both too far forward and ended up getting picked out and caught off. And then on point 3, we saw them try a risky point A defense, which ended up with them just getting rolled. And then their goats, they chose, I think, consistently the wrong avenue to attack from the right-hand side, going through Mega. They didn't have any subtlety in how they were approaching, and Erster just totally destroyed them. Looking at it from Atlanta Reign's point of view, though, they were very clean on Ilios. They have a strategy that works really well for them, and they know how to play it. Hollywood, they have a couple of key targets that they like to focus, and their aggression was working really well. DeFran's bubble timers have got a lot better. Massa playing very well. Honestly, Dako's had a fairly quiet game because he hasn't needed to do anything. I think Dako's still been playing pretty solidly, but the Diva's more like... The Diva really shines when you are under threat from the enemy team, and like the Diva gets a lot of peel, it has really clutch boobs, clutch defensive self-destruct, stuff like that. Dako really hasn't had to do much this game, so I'm not saying that Dako isn't a great player. I think he's been performing reasonably well, but he hasn't really been standout. But Popo certainly hasn't been caught out of position as much as he has done previously. I think the biggest improvements from their previous games are from Popo and DeFran. They seem to have really nailed their timings a lot better. And Atlanta have come into this with a real game plan of how to punish Paris Eternal, which revolves around trying to overwhelm Best and do early damage to Best and Nico, and then do damage to Cruz when they see him going aggressive. So I think... yeah, and also putting Discord orbs tend to fairly regularly be on Finzi, so that they're forcing a lot of damage into Finzi early on in the fight, and then when they see poor bubbles coming out from Soon, then they're attacking Best. So I think Soon and Finzi have both not had great games, and that's meant that Nico and Best have been caught out a lot. But I wouldn't necessarily say that Nico and Best have been the ones playing poorly. I think they've just been supported badly by Soon, and Finzi has not looked great either. This is, yeah, Popo nearly gets caught out there. That was what they were doing to... That's what Philadelphia were doing to Atlanta a lot, was when Popo gets aggressive, isolating him and picking him off. That time, the peel was a bit better from the Atlanta Reign, but they still lose Massa, and they're still going to lose this fight. But I will point out, I think just something interesting from here is that... Right. They see Cruz up aggressive here. Massa gets the boop, and they do a lot of damage to Cruz. And the armor pack has to be used to take Cruz up to full health. So that is the go signal then for the Atlanta Reign to get aggressive into Benbest. But because Popo takes a bubble and doesn't do that much damage to Benbest, Benbest is then able to curl around him and isolate off Popo and Massa. So both Popo and Massa are then like too far deep into the team and they both die. But it's like, it's a decent idea from the Atlanta Reign to like try and put damage on the players that are... You know, try and put damage on Cruz and force resources to be used to save him and then go aggressive onto the main tank. Like, Atlanta clearly have a game plan and it's not too bad. But there, they make an error in their execution of it and Paris punish them. And I thought this was how the game was going to go. Like, even if Atlanta had a decent game plan, they just would be sloppy enough that Paris would be able to punish them. But actually, it's been totally the other way around. Paris have been the sloppy ones and Atlanta have been able to punish them.
Ending up in a favorable ult economy scenario just by a little bit. So that's why Paris is backing up. They know they need to poke here from the high ground.
BGZ Worldwide. We always looking for commentators. Cool. Well, maybe this is my big gig. Nico takes a lot of damage there as well, and I just want to look at how this happens. Oh, he takes a fire strike. Takes a fire strike and then gets discorded and a lot of damage. So the focus fire has also been really good from Atlanta throughout this game. Whoever the Discord orb is on, I feel like this must be why they're running Dogman a lot. Whenever the Discord orb is on somebody, Dogman is really focusing on putting a lot of poke damage on them. They're not really trying to win the shield war, right? Like, this is what San Francisco Shock does as well. They don't really try and win this shield war. They don't give a fuck about it. They're trying to get players weak who are hanging around the shield, like Finzi, like Nico, like Cruz, and by forcing resources away from Benbest and onto them, they then try and win the fight that way. So it's different stylistically. Like, Paris and Dallas will really try and win the shield war, but teams like Atlanta and Shock and... Not really Philly, but I mean, Philly have got a different style. But anyway, teams like Atlanta and Shock are really trying to put like poke damage on different people and then win the fight that way. So now Benbest had the Discord orb on him, and they did a lot of damage to Benbest there. And they forced out slightly more favorable ultimates. Having said that, their grav got eaten and it ends up being a win for Paris. But the opening engagement there was favorable for the Atlanta Reign. So again, decent game plan, the execution just isn't quite there. You are hired. Oh, sick. Now he can do it right where he is. Oh, amazing. It's my big break, guys. Can you tell who are scrim partners from that? No, you can't tell who scrim partners are, because you might play like aggressively against a defensive team or aggressively against another aggressive team or whatever. Well, Titans are all about loading resources into their main tank and winning that main tank v main tank battle. But they play so aggressive that the shield war doesn't even make that much difference. But they definitely are a team that focuses on the shield war. What they try and do is they put enough pressure on the enemy Reinhardt so that they have to take a passive angle, and then their Reinhardt goes beast mode on the enemy team or gets set up for really nice shatters. So they are not like Shock and Atlanta. Shock and Atlanta are way more about doing damage to people behind the shield and then following up on whatever advantage that gives. But teams like Dallas, Paris, Titans are more about trying to win the direct main tank v main tank battle. It's not so much death by 1,000 cuts either. It's just like, instead of trying to win in a head-to-head matchup, you're trying to win by... See there, again, Finzi has the Discord on him, and they're doing a lot of damage to Finzi, not a lot of damage to the shield. So the way to play against teams like Atlanta is to go aggressive onto their main tank, because he doesn't have as many resources. But okay, they're able to take that one. They use the grav. Transcendence isn't used from Heap. Defran on Bastion? Why the fuck is Defran on Bastion?
Gets the kill, but unfortunately just too late. But I think that's a smart play to make in that circumstance.
They're gonna speed boost their way in there to contest this one last time. But Defran over on the Bastion, they were not expecting that.
They should just be able to hide around the corner here, though. They should just be able to kite his sightline. Like here. Why has BenBest taken personal? Again, Popo getting the better end of BenBest. This should still be a win for Paris, though. Cruz should be able to get his sound barrier. BenBest dies, though. BenBest dies playing aggro when there's no need to play aggressive. Ay, ay, ay. They're going to lose this, aren't they? Popo dies as well. I mean, this still should be a Paris Eternal win, but Soon's dropped weak and they can't keep him alive. Finzi not there with the defense matrix. So that absolutely should have been a Paris victory there. And again, played sloppy. Whoa, nice from Defran. Nice from Defran. So, BenBest with an arrow there. Let's look at how they lost that though, because this is a really pivotal fight. I mean, this is one of the things I was recently tweeting about this, which was this fight basically determines whether Atlanta Reign get full held or whether they win and have an ultimate advantage to be able to make a very decent push in point B. So because you get like a few of these really pivotal fights in GOATs, it leads to very high variability, because Atlanta Reign could have just completely lost this map. They would have just been absolutely rolled if they lose this fight, and they probably should have lost this fight. But once you win this, you actually have a lot of momentum to be able to take into point B. But let's see what happens here, because the first thing to point out is that BenBest takes his personal here, and I don't know why the fuck they're doing this. It looks even a bit like a bait play because they back off so quickly. It's like actually a decent disengage from them, and then they bait them into the grav. But there's no reason to try and bait people into a grav. You can catch people in the grav in the corner anyway, so I don't really get this. But whatever. Early bubble from Soon. His bubbles have been early or late all series. He hasn't had good bubbles. So okay, they use the grav. Dogman's going to use his Transcendence here. Why does he use Trance? I don't know. There's absolutely no reason to do this, because they should just be able to play passive and kill them afterwards with the double support ult advantage. But okay, the Diva Bomb goes up to try and get some picks from Finzi, and they all get Earth Shattered. So really nice Earth Shatter from Popo. But BenBest should recognize this. If both teams have Earth Shatter, then the defensive Earth Shatter that comes out from the Rhine and the Grav is like the most predictable shit in the world. If you grab a Rhine and he has Earth Shatter, he is going to use it when you try and go aggressive, especially if he sees a Transcendence and knows that you're going to go really aggressive. So this is a fail on BenBest's part. And Soon doesn't have the bubbles to be able to go aggressive in the Grav because he fucking used them too early on. So it's a problem for Soon because of the bubble usage too early, which he never should have used. And it's a problem for BenBest because he knows that Popo has Earth Shatter and doesn't block it. And then Heaps just totally wasted his Transcendence. So 3 pretty key errors. Now, the defensive self-destruct from Doko is pretty good. It stops any follow-up. The aggressive self-destruct from Finzi actually finds Defran, and I'm not really sure why it finds Defran. Oh, it's just... he just gets unlucky, honestly. I mean, he just peeks. Okay, well, whatever. Defran shouldn't have died to that, but... okay, so that's the first big mistake that Atlanta Reign have made. But, anyway. Coming out from this, they've kind of equalized it, but they do actually have a decent opportunity to still make something happen here, Paris. They're going to get a faster support ultimate from Cruz, and Ben Best should be in a position to try and make his Earthshadow work, especially when all the players have to play the card. Cruz, I don't know why he goes in here and goes so weak, and the armor pack is needed to be used on him there. So Soon goes a little aggro. And what the fuck happens to Ben Best here? I mean, I just have no idea. I just actually have no idea how Ben Best dies here. He should just be playing behind the cart. I can only assume that he gets booped out of position by Dako and Massa and gets finished off by Dogman. But Ben Best should just be behind this cart and perfectly happy staying alive. He doesn't get bashed or anything. He just drops his shield and isn't played behind the cart properly and just gets right-clicked down by Dogman. So, I mean, what the fuck happens there? I have no idea. And at that point, the fight's lost. But just a comedy of errors, honestly, from Paris Eternal in a fight where they should have been able to win it. And it's not even like that was the most horrible fight they've had all stage, but so many micro errors from them. Anyway. I can't go to Yemen. I'm an analyst. What is going on in my chat? And yes, Dogman doesn't use aggressive transcendences this series, and Atlanta win. I think this is a massive improvement for Dogman. Something that I was talking about a lot was that I hated the aggressive transcendences coming out from a lot of different teams, but it just fucks your ult economy so badly. And I think, yeah, I haven't said once that Dogman used a bad trance in this game. He's just saving them for Soon's grabs. Eternal. Now depending on the bridge, used up all the time you could. From dog shit to Pogman. Yeah. And a lot of teams make the mistake of using their transcendences very aggressive, and it's really poor. Self-destruct engage. They try and get aggressive into... What the fuck? How does Cruz die? So, self-destruct engage. They're trying to get aggressive. It's a nice disengage. Bubbles used at the right time from Soon to keep Ben Best alive. But when Pokpo goes for the charge, Cruz gets caught and ends up dying. Okay, but you should be able to get the kill there on... when he goes for a charge here, everyone should be trying to kill Pokpo as well. Like, Heap should be doing damage to him. Ben Best should have turned around and tried to kill him. Soon should be doing damage to him as well. But Pokpo gets away with it, and they just end up collapsing as well. So... I wouldn't say that's the cleanest engage in the world, but it is aggression, and Paris are just crumbling at this point, so fair enough. I think this is improvement from Atlanta, but I still don't think they're an incredible team. Actually, though, I think they look like similar level to like Charge and stuff like that. So, yeah, they're a probably lower level. Probably not tier 1, because at the moment I would say only NYXL and Titans seem to be like a tier 1 team. Maybe I'd put Shock up there as well, but I think Atlanta, Shock, and Charge look like they should be in their own tier at the moment. Because Atlanta have really fixed a lot of mistakes that they were making. And they got a good game plan. But okay, Paris have the faster spawns and they're able to come back into it. And with 45 seconds, Atlanta are in a bit of a hole ult economy-wise. Aggressive play. Oh, but no disengage. Heap's forced to use his Transcendence, but okay, they just traded support ultimates. An attempt at being able to... What the fuck? Oh, I see. Okay, so let's wind this back. At this point, Defran is on 53% and Soon's on 40%. And what changes this fight so dramatically is that Defran is just playing a lot better on the Zarya. And honestly, that wasn't the case prior in the week. Oh, and look at that again. Look at that again. Cruz taking a lot of damage, and armor pack has to be used on Cruz again. Just before they go aggressive. They don't have an armor pack available. Okay. Self-destruct engage. They try and get some value out of that. It's blocked quite nicely. They see if they can isolate Defran. They can't. Ben Best has to back off. The sound barrier has been used. They trade support ultimates. Not bad. But in the middle of all of this, Soon has been able to output about 19% damage, whereas Defran's been able to output 40-50% damage. So massive difference in the Zarya gameplay that we're seeing here. Soon really struggling. And then they just find an aggressive self-destruct. They find an aggressive grab onto Nico. Where does Cruz die, actually, though? Can anyone see where Cruz is? Well, there he is. He just flies in there.
Try to keep people alive. Another Dako self-destruct.
He actually just gets obliterated as well. Dogman just obliterates Cruz. I'm just looking at Cruz's health because we can't see him on the screen. But it pretty much just like... He gets discorded, and then he's just fucking dead instantly. So Dogman just... I don't know, body shot and then headshots him, I think. Something like that. He booped Poco into... What? When did he boot Poco into Paris? Oh, yeah, just then. Yeah.
Another Dako self-destruct. No kills out of that one either, but now the follow-up from Atlanta. They're going to get Benbest in the grab. A lot of kills from that one, and that's going to be a win again from Atlanta.
That was ridiculously sloppy ult management from the Paris.
Wait, but I'm seeing tons of stuff in my chat that's like really dumb, I think. Okay, so Cruz is trying to zip around the map and get boops on people to get them out of position. So like he's trying to boot Pogpo forward so that they can isolate and kill him. He's not doing damage. Like the idea is not to go around and kill people. Also, soon bubbling him there is a question mark, but I think he was just aiming for Benbest. But the idea is for Cruz to go aggressive and boot people out of position so the rest of the team can kill them, not for Cruz to actually go and get kills himself. So when he zips behind here, he's trying to get the boop on Popo and push him forward so that Benbest can play aggro and try and get that pick on him. But they can't because of the self-destruct that comes in. So now Cruz is just kind of stuck behind. So it's just poor timing from Cruz there because the self-destruct was going on at the same time from Dako. But previously we've seen Cruz have massive impact. When Paris, the more aggressive team, and are in control of the tempo, Cruz gets great value out of all of those. But it's a bit like when you see Big Goose playing as well. If you have a good awareness of where he is, you can do a lot of damage to him and actually catch him out a lot too. So it shouldn't really be that high risk, high reward. Because you're Lucio and you can zip out of places. But with how aggressive the Lucios are playing, it does tend to be high risk, high reward. But yeah, I know, and he isn't a feeder as much as, yeah, you know, that's funny because Dogman was shouting it out. But also Dogman was really put. It looks like Atlanta had a game plan, which was Cruz gets away with way too much when he plays Lucio. Let's punish him when he goes on these aggressive plays. What's going on here as well? Why are they not being able to?
From Atlanta, but then they couldn't follow up on Barry.
You can tell Masa just keeping certainly falling apart a little bit here. You can tell.
So Cruz uses his amp up here to heal, and I don't know why. And then they try and go aggressive. So when the aggression comes out of Atlanta, they don't even try and disengage. Like, clearly Cruz is not calling to disengage because he doesn't go over to speed. He goes like speed and then back to heal, and they're just trying to stand their ground and stuff. So there's just no... Paris think they can just tank this aggression. But they don't realize that that is not something they're going to be able to do. They're just getting speed boost and run over. So the calling is off from Paris in this game as well, because they really just haven't been disengaging much the entire time. And my sneaking suspicion is Cruz got tilted over the course of this game. I think it looks like Paris are just playing a bit boneheaded, like forwards over and over again, and Cruz is going for risky plays even though he's been punished throughout the course of the series. And the fact that they're not going for disengages, which would normally be called by Cruz, seems to indicate to me that like the game got in his head a little bit and he just tried to like brute force it rather than rather than playing a bit smarter.
Go down. Popo with that. Oh, wow, the sound barrier comes in for Paris at just the right time. They've got a shot. They've got Popo separated, but Nico goes down. Now DeFran turning this.
So that's my sneaky suspicion.
Zarya, what can you do? How did Popo live? Cruz dead again, and that's going to be Atlanta Reign closing.
Yeah, I thought Dogman would be a bit of a liability as well, because he was a bit when he was playing Contenders, but he's learnt a lot, and he's getting better. Missed the start of your stream. Did you already go over who you'll be reviewing today? It's because Heap got shattered. Was that what happened there? I didn't think anyone got caught in the shatter. Where the fuck was this fight? Oh, here it was.
Certainly falling apart a little bit here. You can tell Masa just keeping an eye on Cruz.
I think they did a good job of forcing the sound barrier from Atlanta.
Oh yeah, Heap gets shattered, okay. So they're trying to peel for him and trying to play forwards, fair enough. But they still don't have speed to be able to disengage in the first place, you know? Like, even if they go aggressive there, they have to just back off. Alright, fair enough. So that was Heap getting caught by that shatter. Do you think Dogman's conclusively better than Kodak? From this game, it seems like their focus calls based on Discords are very strong with Dogman in the lineup. He got caught out a lot in some of the previous games that he played. Dogman positions himself for the forwards, and especially against good Winston Goats teams, that was getting really punished. But maybe. I think it depends what kind of team you're playing against. If you're playing against a good Winston Goats team, I would maybe sub in Kodak.
Now getting aggressive again. Onto Atlanta. Daco, though, manages to get the kill onto Hip.
That was decent aggression coming out from Paris, but Atlanta just kited it really well. Atlanta just back off really well, find Heap when he's out of position, make sure that Popo doesn't get caught. So.
Doesn't have his mech, so this is a chance for Paris to be aggressive and push forward.
No, I'm not going to be in the casting team this season. I'm going to be in the watch points and half times. I used to do casting a while back, but I've never done it for Al. Nice. And DeFran's being able to charge his ults very quickly, and that's part of the Atlanta's playstyle, is that DeFran also doesn't just slam damage into shields. DeFran is trying to charge his grab very quickly. And so DeFran and Dogman, you know, trying to shoot people that aren't covered by the shield. And that means that Paris have to play tighter and have to expend resources on other people. But it also means that DeFran and Dogman end up charging up their ults more quickly. So stylistically working pretty well. Nice decision to go aggressive there from Paris. They were already too far in, they couldn't disengage, and they had the sound barrier to be able to go aggressive.
Gonna get some movement on this payload here. As Popo finally eliminated.
Read Shaco's comment? Oh yeah, I did.
They see the self-destruct coming in, protect themselves with the sound barrier, and they just jump.
Cruz played really well in the Overwatch World Cup. And yes, it does seem like Cruz needs to dial it back when he realizes that enemy teams are focusing on him. I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this if you're Cruz, is not... like, don't stop playing this aggressive against most teams. Most teams don't punish you for doing this, so do it as much as you can get away with. But when you constantly see yourself getting discorded and poked at the beginning of fights, that's when you need to dial it back a little bit and just be... play more to peel for Ben Best, or play more to just like pick your timings a little better. I think that's the takeaway here if you're Cruz. It's not like Cruz is going to be able to be punished by every team, or should be, or whatever like that. I mean, what the fuck is that though, honestly? Just what I'm saying, Cruz needs to dial it back against some of these teams. They really... Oh my god. He just got caught in the sign. Nice sound barrier. The teamwork from Atlanta Reign is surprisingly good, given that they don't speak English very well, some of their players. I'm very impressed by that, actually. If there's one thing that surprised me, it's Atlanta's ability to not have communication issues disrupt their teamwork. In such a teamwork-based meta, the fact that they were able to solve that so quickly is huge. Huge.
Make sure that you get the final eliminations with that damage.
Dropping down the bridge, our Atlanta Rain, Popo diving in early. There's the grab. Oh, kills immediately coming in.
Okay, I mean, just a free grab for Atlanta.
To protect Paris when they got so many people caught in the grab.
And you know, this might be a full hold, Doa. Could be 30 seconds. Paris is
30 seconds, grab and rally available for Paris. They need to watch out for these shatters. Ben Best has been getting shattered consistently by Popo.
right now, because if he can get it, he can delay this push.
He's really close.
That was actually a really smart move to just try and get that last few percent so he can throw his self-destruct on the approach, but he's not going to get it.
He should have
Soon gets 6% as he comes in here. I mean, Soon's charge has been denied so well by Atlanta, actually. Okay. Ben Best shattered out of his... Did Soon's graph get eaten, actually? I wasn't even paying attention. I was thinking more about Soon's charge. Soon's bubbles have not been able to generate much charge for him the entire match, and I don't think that's just because Soon's bubbles are bad. I think Soon's bubbles have been bad, but I think it's also because Atlanta, when Paris are coming through choke points, they're really just not doing that much damage to the shield itself. They're trying to get damage behind the shields. Okay, so Grav comes out. And despite the fact that Atlanta Rain don't use any support ultimates, they're really not able to do any damage to it. I mean, why the fuck is that? Oh, that's why. Wait, what? That wasn't... Soon used both bubbles? Okay, so I thought Soon only used one of his bubbles here, getting through the choke point. And I was surprised that he didn't get up to like, 30%, something like that. If you come to a choke point like this, most of the time teams will be trying to spam you, do early damage to the shield or whatever. You'll get a little bit of charge out of it. Soon uses his projected rather than his personal. He didn't use both bubbles, sorry. He uses projected, though, rather than his personal. What that means is, he's about to set up to use Grav, and he doesn't have his personal to allow Ben Best to do damage in it, or to allow anybody to do damage in it.
He's going to get it. Where is it? He's not so...
So, it's on a 4-second cooldown here, so that when he uses his Grav, Ben Best has to hide. He can't even do that much damage, because nobody's got a bubble. This is like really poor, very basic Zarya stuff in GOATs. Is that when you are getting ready to use a Grav, you save your personal so that your Ryan has the personal. You save your projected so the Ryan has the projected to be able to go aggressive in it and do damage.
drops the earth shatter, not a lot of suns, but the counter shatter comes in, gets blocked as well from Paris. Now we're brawling on the payload. Into overtime we go. It's going to be Transcendence, but Dako loses his mech early.
Dako demegged. Cruz has this sound barrier to be able to work with. So they still got a good chance of being able to win this fight.
That was kind of a little bit of a bizarre engage there, but Paris taking advantage of the chaos.
I think they...
Surely, though, every team coming up against Paris now will know if they can shut down Cruz's aggression, then they can neuter Paris. I don't think that's just like an easy... I don't think that's a definite game plan, though, because one of the problems is that Cruz didn't tone down the aggression, so it continued working. Cruz could have toned down the aggression, and then Atlanta would have just, you know, successfully reduced one smaller win condition for Paris. But that isn't the only reason that Paris lost this game, is because Cruz was focused. It's also the fact that Finzi took a butt ton of poke, Nico took a butt ton of poke. They didn't play aggressive and decisive enough. This is nice, though. Ben Best wasn't aware of when Popo had Grav. Soon had a bad game on Zarya. I think a lot of things went wrong here for Paris. And yeah, a bit of a late sound barrier from Massa. Level 9 light spell. Thank you. Thanks. Did you guys miss me? Oh, you little cutie pies.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Number 2. Zarya finally on top, staring down.
See, Soon's putting a lot of damage on shield. He's not putting a lot of damage on players. Whereas Defran is really trying, in general, to put damage on the players and build up his Grav ASAP. Aggressive Transcendence. Reply with the Transcendence. So, Why are they using an aggressive trance here? An aggressive trance should only be used... Oh, I think that's just a reaction trance. I think he just thought that... I think he just doesn't trust Benbest to get the block on the shatter. That's worrying, actually, from Paris as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just a reaction trance. That's horrible as well. Panic. Panic, panic, panic. Oh! Thank you for the 100 bits, Sneaky Boy. Sneaky Boy OW. Sorry, I must have missed that. I didn't hear the sound of it very well for some reason. Oh, because I turned it down. I turned it down while I was watching Owl. Found this last night. How did it taste? Okay, let's have a look. What is this? Why can I not open links from... What the fuck? Why can I not open links when from Streamlabs OBS? Turn it up. Turn up. That's so frustrating. There must be a way of opening this goddamn link. It's like literally got it as if it's hyperlinked, but it won't fucking open. And then when I try and copy and paste it, it copy and pastes like all of your message as well. So then I have to delete all the stuff from it. That's a pain in the ass. Alright, what is this? What is this? Oh, this is the maple syrup. I thought you were gonna highlight I thought you were gonna highlight the fucking bull dick that I ate. Honestly. It tasted pretty good, honestly. It wasn't that bad. That bound up the entire...
Cut, please. He's gonna throw up. He's gonna throw up, man. He's actually gone.
This desk was so good. This desk was actually the best desk I think I've ever seen in esports. Like, I find this desk more entertaining to watch than some of the... No, some of the CS desks were fantastic as well. But I think this desk was so fucking good, actually. As part... Like, this is the most proud I've ever been of a product when we finished BlizzCon. I wanna get that vibe going again when I get back over to LA. Not just all memes, you know, but sometimes. But just the fact that we had a bit for every segment. Like, there was never there wasn't one boring segment in the whole of the BlizzCon desk. I'd love to try and do that in Owl. I think it would be so much more difficult, but I think we could. Anyway. Thank you for the 500 bits, appearing Cloud9. The actual desk or the people? I think the people were fantastic as well. If I was going to pick, you know, 4 people for a BlizzCon environment like that, where we were trying to make it very banter, those are the 4 people that I would have picked. In fact, I mean, you guys might know this, but they originally weren't going to have Bren on the desk. It was going to be me and Reinforce, and we cut our pay, you know, and shared it with Bren, and then Bren and asked them to bring Bren in and make it a 4-person desk. Because what we wanted was, like, we'd had a vision the entire year of how the desk should work, and we just wanted to... We basically just like, all right, let us use BlizzCon as our vision for how the desk should work, and then if it's successful, you know that this is what we should do in the future. If it's not, it's on us. Like, we tried something, it didn't work.
From Paris, now soon waiting for a chance to use that grab. Oh, Cruz down early. Urster found him. And the whip shot in the end. Let alone members of Paris.
So, I mean, we were hyper motivated to make BlizzCon really work because it was like so much our idea as well, you know, of like who should be involved and how it should work. They liked it. Like, the management people liked it. I mean, it got clipped up the wazoo, didn't it? And people really engaged with it, so.
did a little bit. Oh, the shadow gets booped away. Tries to save Dogman.
Really nice peel, but Dogman still goes down.
Brando responds with a kill on the Reinhardt, arguably a bit more valuable.
Nice peel though. Doko with a really good boop. Massa with a good boop as well. You'd have to ask Golden Boy or Reinforce to find out that. I mean, I know why both of them aren't on the desk at the moment in Overwatch League Season 2, but I'm not going to say because it's for them to say.
Atlanta Rain drops a grab, doesn't get eaten. Damage coming in. There's a charge from Poco onto Soon. Trying to lead to a few more kills. They're going to dedicate the sound barrier to it as well to try to stay durable. Dako half health, but he's okay.
Strong performance. Strong performance. It is, yeah, it is some, well, there is some overlap between Overwatch League and Overwatch World Cup, but some of the people making the decision making, like the people directly making the decision making on who should be hired for the desk and stuff, is different between Overwatch World Cup and Blizzcon. Sorry, Overwatch World Cup and Overwatch League. It is different people making different decisions. So like, some people are more open to like different ideas. Some people have like a different vision for how the desk should work. Like Overwatch World Cup is supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be more lighthearted. Overwatch League is supposed to be more serious, you know. Cruz doesn't get that boop afterwards as well. Slightly early self-destruct coming out from Finzi. Cruz isn't able to get the boop. Rally, but they just get overwhelmed. Again, Massa is playing aggressively. Like, they could do a similar thing themselves, where they try and put pressure on Massa. But Massa's timing it a bit better. You know, he normally plays quite passive, but then he goes aggressive when the fight gets crazy. Whereas Cruz gets aggressive at the beginning of the fights. But, like, see, where Cruz goes aggressive there, he can't get punished because it's in the middle of a fight. It's just at the beginning of the fights where Cruz is getting punished. And he could certainly cut that out of his gameplay against certain teams that punish him for it. And it wouldn't make that much difference to how Paris plays. But I do think that perhaps too much was made of that because, you know, Dogman highlighted it and stuff like that. I think a big problem has been Soon and... yeah. Soon and just how much poke they're taking without being able to get anything from it.
This is going to change a lot of people's minds. It's changed my mind about the Atlanta Rain coming into this match.
What is my role at the desk? Get rid of leftover maple syrup? Or like the way that I think, okay, so the interesting 4-0. I think Atlanta Rain do look a lot better than they did previously. I think Atlanta Rain deserve a lot of credit for their improvements. The transcendences are so much better from Dogman. DeFran's bubbles are a lot better, and his abilities to get grabs has really improved. I was always optimistic about DeFran, even when he was making a lot of mistakes with his grabs and bubbles in week 1 and 2, because he's an intelligent player and mechanically gifted, and he's never going to go wrong as long as he's got like the right guidance and as long as his head's in the right place. Dogman, I thought it might be more of like a problem with how he thinks about the game, but he performed really well in that game. Darko played well. Popo didn't overextend. And Massa played a very intelligent game. And just overall, Atlanta's teamwork seems to have improved very, very nicely. And yes, their target focus was very good. I think that's because Dogman's been in the game as well. I was talking about this a little bit earlier, Dream. Thanks for the 6-month sub as well. Appreciate that. I think... Dogman being in the game, when targets were discorded, there was a lot of poke damage being poured into them. And it wasn't even like in the middle of the fights, it was like before the fight set up. It seemed like they were really prioritizing doing damage to people around the shield, rather than doing damage to the shield. And so when Nico got a discord orb on him, so much poke damage. When Finzi did, so much poke damage. And then during the fights as well. I think that's a big boon of having Dogman in the lineup, is he's probably very vocal about that. It did seem to be, you know, driven by where the discord orb was. So I think Atlanta Rain played that really nicely. And Atlanta don't really seem like that much of an inconsistent team as well. It's been a slow improvement throughout the course of these 3 weeks. So it doesn't seem to me like we would be in a situation where Atlanta would go back to making a shit ton of these mistakes. It just seems like it's getting better. And yeah, Soon, I think Soon played a really bad series. I think Soon's bubbles were either too early a couple of times or way too late when he was like, they just weren't safe for the right times. It seemed like he didn't have an awareness of, okay, both Ryans have shatter. I need to be able to bubble my Ryan if he wants to go aggressive, because otherwise he's going to get counter shattered. Or he didn't save his projected bubble for when the grabs went down, so Benbest could go aggressive in the grabs. And there were a couple of times where they were too early as well, so it ended up giving Popo an advantage there. So yeah. Where would I put Atlanta in power rankings right now? In the same kind of tier as the Charge, I think. And Ursa's been playing very well. Yeah.